do a video about gang stalking in one of my lives before. And I want to say this issue happens and it comes about when narcissists employ or they get people that's a part of their bandwagon to antagonize a subject or a target. Okay. Um, this this is most commonly done to still have power or control over the source that they were dealing with. So here's some things you need to take into account. Number one, um, most of the individuals that are involved with the narcissist and that partake in this particular activity themselves, they're fools. They're just as much as fools as the narcissist is. Number one. Number two, you have to come from it and approach it from the aspect of being able to collect the proper data, right, to allow them to hang themselves. And we're going to get into what needs to be done to deal with these type of individuals. Again, we live in a world today where accessing people may think that they can do stuff online through social media or kind of like through any hidden type of thing where they don't think their information can still be accessed, and just get away with it. Well, there's proper steps to take to where that information would have to be rendered through subpoena so that you can go through and move forward with any legal ramifications from that. Stalking is a crime. Okay? So there's a way of doing it, and you have to do it the right way, right? In this instance, you're going to let them hang themselves first. A fool will always hang themselves because they get involved and they do things and they don't take into account the legal ramifications behind it based on what the moves of the next person or the individual that they're dealing with or going against is going to do again to counter against what they're doing to them, right? So you have to be mindful of that, and you have to understand that there's a right way to approach this and do it in a way to where you can actually neutralize the situation and put them in a situation where there's some consequences to answer to if you do it the right way. So number one, let's get into it. Make sure you always document. When you see the stuff come up, document, save it, make note of it. Okay. If it's at the job, make sure you're contacting your HR department. Make sure you're bringing that evidence to your HR, letting them know this is what's went on, this is the date, this is the time. Okay, this is building a case, right? You're building a case, right? This is one incident, but the more it happens, you're building a case to where it's not gonna just be a preponderance of evidence, which is more of a it's in civil. That's more of a civil matter. But if we're looking at with the stalking issue, the thin line between crossing from civil into criminal, it's very imperative, important that you document properly, right? Number one, first and foremost. And when these incidents happen, make sure you immediately go and report to the proper people that you need to, right? Even some people have narcissists showing up at their place still, or at their job or their place of residence and whatnot. Document, record, okay? One time is, they'll say, well, that's one time, we can't really do anything. But if it's a continuum and it's happening more than once and you have this documented, now you're building a case, okay? You're building a case, even if it's online, on any social media outlet, right? What these individuals don't understand is that you can track IP addresses. You can track IP addresses. They may think that they're incognito when they're coming on and that they can't be discovered and they can't be linked back and traced back to them, but you can subpoena these things if there's enough probable cause, and that's why you're building up a case to where there is enough PC so that you can proceed forward with legal processing and proceedings from these individuals' actions that they're committing, right? So again, we're at documenting everything. Number two, once you've gotten enough information, and this has been happening consistently, and you've been notifying every time and documenting every time, it's time to move forward with proceedings, with legal processing of what you're going to do in these situations. Because if you don't do anything about this, if you just leave it as is, the individuals will feel as though they can do whatever, whenever, right? So it's very important to follow through. Once you do have enough evidence built on them, follow through, right? And you want to follow through all the way till you get back to the original source, okay? All the way back to the original source of where this came from. Because the last thing any narcissist wants, or anyone that's following the narcissist with this foolishness, they don't want any real legal ramifications. In street talk, we say they don't want no smoke. They don't want that. They think they're big and bad, and they can sell you a good wolf ticket. But here's the deal. When it comes down to something actually legally being brought to them, and they have to go to court or something like that, then it gets real. Then it gets real. And trust me, that big bad individual that was doing all the stuff that they were doing there beforehand will be quieter than a church mouse. They don't want to go that route. See, it's fun and games while they're doing all of this stuff. While they think they can antagonize and bother people at will. It's fun and games then, but it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So follow through. 3, don't broadcast your moves. Let them keep doing. Don't tell them, hey, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that next. No. Let them do what they do. You want to allow them to hang themselves. You want to allow them to dig themselves their own grave. Right? Because all the flying monkeys and everything else that's around them will get caught up in it too as well. Let them dig their own grave. What they're doing will come back to haunt them. What they're doing will come back to haunt them. Again, like I said, it's all fun and games until the rabbit got the gun. I shouldn't say gun because YouTube, you can only say so much, but it's a figurative of speech, not literally having a gun, but it's no fun when the shoe's on the other foot. That's what the interpretation of that, or the metaphorical speaking of that is. So at this point, once you've, gotten all your evidence, you submit it to your legal team or to the proper law enforcement authorities, you allow them to go forth and handle it from there. I'm not a lawyer, not an attorney, so I can't go into any other particulars or protocols or proceedings from there forward, but I do know the proper way and steps to approach to get to that point to where you do have a significant case against these individuals. All right? Flying monkeys. And my grandfather used to always say, innocence kills. And I'm going to add to that and say, so does foolishness. A fool, and we don't mean literally being killed, but because they are foolish and not knowing what repercussions or ramifications can happen from their actions that they commit, and they don't know, and they're ignorant as to what can be legally done and how it can be legally done against them, they'll go forth and do whatever. They'll go forth and do whatever, all the while hanging themselves. Just like, you go from state to state or whatnot, each state has a different law. Not knowing the law is not an excuse. It's not going to matter. You get pulled over in another state where there's some states where marijuana is legal. You get pulled over in a state where it's not legal. You can't say, I didn't know it was legal here. That's your responsibility to understand the law. They're not going to let you off the hook just because you didn't know, right? And this is where you capitalize on the fools, the individuals that are following these flying monkeys. This is where you capitalize off their ignorance and foolishness. Again, don't give them no warning. Don't let them know. I get a lot of people who ask about this subject, and this is why I put it out there. It's important to be able to understand how to deal with this. Don't let them know. You're going to hit them completely off guard. You're going to hit them completely off guard. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Anyway, that's all I got to say for this video. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. In the drop down information box, a lot of you have been asking about the Quiet Weapons for Silent Wars. The first tour that I did is available now, completely downloadable. I'll leave the link in there to where you can get a copy of the tour. It's about 3 to 4 hours long. So, filmed in New York, but it is available now. And if you want to get yourself a copy, and it's a limited amount of copies that are available, so make sure if you do want to get your copy, make sure you get it now. They're going pretty quick. I'll leave the link there. You can get a copy. Till next time, love yourselves, enjoy yourselves, have a good one.